Hey everyone, so here we are with step 1 of building my Rostock Max version 2 3D printer. So that's the final look of it. This is the second edition of the manual. It's a work in progress and you can get it from the forum currently. But it's so much better than the original manual. Really, the guy's been doing a fantastic job on it. And the improvements and the community involvement. So I'm going to use this for as long as I can. So you've unpacked your Rostock. Well, at least I did anyways. My first video was the unboxing video and you got to see all of that. So now let's have a look at where we are. I'm going to come down into the manual. Read me first. Yeah. I'm not going to go over that. So the very first thing you should be doing is taking an inventory of all of your components. As you saw, that's what came out of the box yesterday, or in the previous video, I should say. So now the next step is to read this little bit about taking off all of the tape. So the melamine is covered in tape. Boy, is it ever. There's a reason why he's making that joke in the manual, because you're going to cry. So I had originally decided I was going to do some paint work on this, right? So what that means is you've got to kind of cut these pieces out. So here's what's going on. First of all, the melamine has a layer of masking tape just over top of the whole thing. And then they do the laser cutting, and then I'm assuming it's before they actually remove it from the bed, they go ahead and they just lay down strips of inch wide or 2 inch wide masking tape over all of the components just to hold them all in place. So you can see the masking tape is right on there. So now you've got a choice. If you're going to do some sort of painting on the pieces, especially if you're going to be painting the edges, you want to keep basically all of that tape in place because the pieces are already masked perfectly for you. So you can just go along and paint the edges. Already over here, I've actually gone ahead and done just that. So all of these bits, I've gone ahead and I actually cut out. And if you look closely, you can still see that they do have, I don't know how well my lighting is, the original strips of masking tape, the big long strips. It's all on there. Now, the way to do that is quite simply get yourself a nice little X-Acto knife, preferably something better than this. An actual X-Acto knife with a thin blade, with a narrow tip, is going to be very handy. So all you're going to do is you're going to find out where the masking tape is crossing all of your edges, and you're going to come in here with your knife and just kind of get it right into the edge there, and then just trace along to cut the tape. We'll do this bit here. Okay, so there we go. Now, I've already removed the masking tape from the other side, so there. Now, this gives you nice edges. Everything is perfectly masked off, and this gives you really nice edges so that you can go ahead and paint it. Now, why do you actually want to do it that way? Like, why not just peel the strips off while keeping the big masking tape in place? Well, I'm going to flip this over and show you what happens. Now, for the most part, you can do a very good job of actually just removing the strips without disturbing the underlying mask. But you do run into places where it does actually peel up, and there's really not a lot you can do. Some places you can manage to wiggle out and take a different angle and come back, but you still end up with a lot of bubbles and edges, and it is actually a lot of work. So what you can do is instead just pull out your knife and cut around all of your edges. Now look at this, you can start to see that there are a lot of freaking edges. Doing this one sheet, I just kind of wanted to just not do it anymore. So I switched over to the big sheet number 2, and I just went ahead and pulled the masking tape off, and they came out quite well. There's really no reason why I can't just paint these. So I've got a bunch of extra bits over here. Move my light back. I'm going to go ahead and continue to remove the last couple of strips of masking tape here. Just to give you an idea of what's going on, just find the edge there and just kind of get it peeled up. Sorry about the really bad lighting. Please don't break, okay. So I'm doing this just one-handed because I got the camera, my camera phone in the other. See, I wasn't quite paying attention because of my camera in my hand, damn it. You can see it just pulled it up, and it's like, and it's bits like that. I mean, if you don't catch it early enough, stop, lay it back down, and then pull from a different angle. You can usually be okay and save it, but I'm not going to worry about it because I decided I'm not actually going to bother painting these. The other reason why I decided not to paint it is, let's have a quick look. You can see the edges are black. So the laser cutting does leave you a burnt edge. And I noticed last night when I was removing all of these that it was leaving a lot of dirt behind. You can just see what I just did there. I smudged. So I would have to actually go through and clean all of that before you can give it a good paint job. And oh my gosh, I really don't want to do that. I mean, look at how much stuff you have to go through. It's like, oh, I don't want to do that stuff anymore. So that's one of the drawbacks of a kit, is those little tiny steps. You just kind of get old and decide you don't want to do them anymore. Oh, see, there goes the other little freaker one. Damn it. So there, you just pull off your masking tape. Once your masking tape is off, well, let me go ahead and take these next two strips off. So once you got your long strips of masking tape pulled off, you're done. Because now all you have to do is just lift it up. And everything just more or less just falls right out. Unless, of course, you missed the spot. Oops. Sorry, don't mean to stick your face in my, there we go. So this is what the one-handed cameraman is like, is it? All right. What is that? Oh, don't forget those pieces. Whatever those are, I'm going to take them. They might be important. Okay, so you're going to do that to all of your, so there's your little CNC logo. To all of the big melamine sheets, you're just going to go through and take all those little bits out and make sure you keep whatever you think you might need. I got one more sheet to do. Oops. I'm not sure which of these I'm going to need. Probably those two. That one, and probably that one. That one, and probably that one. Alright, so let's put those together. Take out the little bits. Oh. So I'm just trying to do this one-handed, so I'm not going to worry about that too much right now. Just put these off to the side, because I want to show you the next little bit. Okay, once you've collected up all your pieces, let's have a look. So once you've got them all pulled out, they all look like that. Once you've actually got all of the external masking tape pulled off, they're going to look a lot nicer, a lot shinier. So this one has tape halfway and half on, half off. This one is all tape. This is fully untaped. Well, this side is taped. So you can see they actually do look pretty good. It is a very nice white. Very dark black edges because it's all sooty. I'm going to try and get a bit of cleaning done on it anyways. These are just spare pieces. So I believe that's all you got to do. I got one more sheet to do, and then we're going to move on to the next step. Well, actually, sorry, the next step I've already done. The next step is to just go through and identify all of the bits and pieces in your kit. Take an inventory. Very important. Go through this list, open up your hardware pack until you got just the little bags. Everything else can be done just visually in its own little bag. You don't have to actually open anything. And then just go through and make sure that you can match up all of these and that you have the right number in total. There are many pages of this. And then there's a couple of bigger items in your bed and your electronics and your gears and your fans and all your wiring, your arms, your hot end, your cold end, your acrylic parts, power supply. Now we get into the melamine parts. This is only in the second edition, this little bit. It's not in the original that you'll download from the main website. I highly recommend you go, if this hasn't been released yet, sorry, go get this bit off of the forum. It'll take you through every single piece and identify them all. So, for example, that's the easy extruder support bracket. It looks like that right there. Okay, that way. So that's very good. Now, like I said, if you're going to do your painting, you've got all your pieces already here, ready to go. Just do your painting. Identify everything. Got all the pages of doing that. So my next step is right there, prepping the hot end. And I will be right back. So I'm cruising along, just sorting out all the parts. I was going through the manual, making sure I had everything correct. And I came across this little piece right here. You can see it still has the two ends on there. Should have kind of looked like that. So these didn't actually get cut all the way through. These are the only ones I've seen like this. But yeah, they didn't, and they didn't get very far at all. So it's actually kind of like they're not very deep. So I got to figure out how to actually cut through that. If we try and see on the edge, you can see there's quite a bit of ways they could have gone on that one. So yeah, small mistake there. But so far, that's the only thing I've seen. Everything else looks really good. Continuing up. And now we have all of the pieces have been pulled. That didn't make sense. All the pieces have had the masking tape pulled from them, and they've been cleaned. And we'll see that you got the CNC logo, quite a few different places. Oh, excuse me. Everything has been very good except for that one piece I just showed you, which was one of these. So I've had to wash my hands several times during this process, but so whenever I start working with a piece, what I'll do is I'll just give it a good cleaning and then I'll work on it. So up next is, in fact, the hot end. And here we have the hot end. Let's have a good close look at this. I'm not sure if you can see this. So right there, you can see that's the thermistor. It is absolutely tiny. I hope you can see it. It's right there. And we have some tubing for the thermistor leads. There's the hot end, and the resistors, the heating resistors are right there. So we're going to open this up, and we are going to follow the instructions that say, it's a lot of empty pages right there. What the heck? So first we snug up the nozzle to make sure it's okay, and then we're going to coat the resistors in RTV, and we're going to insert the resistors. So that's step one. There's my RTV. There's my box that's been cut out with the hole in there so I can set the hot end into it to rest. Okay, I'm going to open my bag and begin. So there it is, out of the bag. Let's have a good look at it. So that'll just sit in there like that. And then this will just go up into here. And it'll just sit like that to dry. Okay, and there's the finished hot end. It's all been RTV'd. See if we can get some proper light in here. So now I'm just going to let that dry. Next step is to prepare the power supply and all its connectors. Our next step is to assemble the power supply, the power switch, and related items. So over here I've got my 600 watt power supply. Interestingly enough, this second edition manual does specifically say 600 watt ATX. The website for this, the Rostock Max 2 currently says 450. And I was shipped to 600, so yay. There's the toggle switch, power switch. It's actually a nice looking switch. I kind of like it. There's the spade lugs for connecting onto here. And there's my Rambo controller box because we're going to need a part out of it. Okay, be back. So I'm about halfway through with the power supply steps. The instructions were fairly clear and straightforward. Separate the black and green from the main ATX plug. Cut off all of the reds or yellows and blacks from one of the 8 pins, and then cut off another 4 from someone else. Oh yeah, these ones from the 8 pin and this is 4 from another. So I've already got the power. It's already sleeved. This is what I was talking about. If you buy the modular, I'm just going to go with this. This is a nice kit. It's a nice power supply. May as well just use it. Why spend extra money? But this is what you get. You get a nice big ball of cables. With modular power supply, you'd actually just have plugs here. And then the ATX power actually comes out of a hole. But every other cable is just an optional cable. And you can just plug it into the modular supply. And that way you don't end up with this. So not necessary, and I'm just going to go with it. So I've sleeved all of the cables that I took off, and I've got the plugs on there, and the cable is nicely sleeved. I'm working on the group of 4. Here's the Rambo power plug. There's some sleeve or heat shrinks that I've got cut, and now I'm just working on measuring for the other set of blacks. These are all 4 blacks, and these are all 4 yellows that go to the first sets according to the instructions. So I've got the bit on there. Now I'm just measuring out to the ends. Right there. Sorry, I'm not always accurate with my camera. So now I'll just put some tape on here, back it off, cut it, slide on my other 2 pieces. I'm using 2 because I have 1 piece inside. Let's get this out of the way. So I'm keeping 1 piece inside, and then I put the other one right over top, and then just match them up. And then I'll shrink it. There's a better example, I guess. So I'll finish this off, and then the next step after the power supply is beginning on the actual base. So this is just about done, and I'll see you in a second. I've now finished with the power supply. Everything is sleeved and assembled into the power block. So we get a nice curve on that now. Everything will be held together beautifully. This is the power connector. So we're done. Be nice if I could focus. All right, that's the end of step 1. The next step is building the base. All right. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.